United States, which is different from the popular vote because we have votes allotted to each state based on their population, but we don't count the vote of every person. Now, how the electoral votes are attributed is dependent on population. A state such as California, which is the most populous state in the United States, has 55 electoral votes. Those votes are determined based upon the number of House of Representatives and Senators. You get one electoral vote for every representative you have in the United States Congress. You also get a vote for each senator you have. Now, every state in the United States has 2 senators. It does not matter if you're a large state or a small state. But every state has a different amount of representatives in the National Congress depending on the population. So California has 53 representatives in the National Congress. Therefore, they get an electoral vote for each one, and they also get one for each senator, which means they have 55. It's the most populous, and they have the most votes. And it can lead to a result in which a candidate receives more votes throughout the country, but still loses the election. And this is what happened in the year 2000 between Al Gore and George Bush. It's only happened 4 times in our history, but it has happened at very important times, such as 2000. Al Gore received more votes in that throughout the country, more people voted for him, but George Bush won more electoral votes. States that had a larger amount of electoral votes voted for George Bush. The crucial example of this was in Florida. Now, Al Gore was winning the election, yet George Bush won the state of Florida and the electoral votes from Florida, and therefore he won the election. Now, the reason why we have this system is that the founding fathers of our country thought that it would be disadvantageous for large concentrations of population in the United States to determine the whole election. They didn't want all of the people in New York that lived in the big city, that had urban interests, to decide the election for everyone, including big parts of land that had small populations and different values. Because a farmer in Virginia would have different interests than a city person in New York. But since there were so many more people in New York, those people and those interests could determine the whole election. So the strategy was to disperse or to lessen the impact of heavily populated areas by taking away some of their influence. You can see this in the fact that while the electoral votes are determined based on population and in the House of Representatives, every state only gets 1 vote for their senators, and every state, no matter how big, has 2 senators. So even though California has a very large population, somewhere around 40 million, they only have 2 senators. Where a state such as Wyoming, the least populated state with only 800,000 people, they also have 2 senators and an electoral vote for each one. So the idea is that if someone is going to be president of the United States, they will have to win different types of states with different types of interest. You have to get a variation of different interests and different kinds of people to vote for you.